What's going on, coaches? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you once again for checking out another video. Today I want to talk to you guys about community buy-in, why it's so important for head coaches to get that community buy-in, and why your staff really needs to start hyper-focusing on it. So the importance of community buy-in, it can unlock a lot of resources. Fundraising becomes easier. Parents in the community complains less. It brings pride to, the community in town. And it also shows the kids that they can impact their home. I don't know if many of you watching this knows this about Cortland, New York, but Cortland, New York, its community is struggling a little. There's a homeless problem, there's a drug problem, and I always tell my kids, I always tell our football athletes that, hey, you guys can be the beacon of hope. You guys can be the ray of light here. So always, always, always try to show your kids that they can impact their home. But what poor community support does get you is a lack of extra resources, poor fundraising turnout, low attendance on game days, and the community loses confidence faster. One thing that I've learned within my first year here in Cortland is it was a lot easier going 0-8 because the community believed in me. Because the community believed in the program, because the community believed in my staff. And the big reason why the community believed in us is because a lot of the things that we did, this first year here in Cortland, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later in this presentation. But, before we do that, I want to talk about what buy-in actually looks like. Buy-in looks like, hey, you're packing out the stadium. If you were to come to a Cortland football game this past season, we might have went 0-8, but we had a pretty decent crowd. We had a pretty decent turnout. Teachers were talking about the team on Monday. I think one of the coolest things is our teachers are starting to talk more and more about football players in a positive light. Everybody knows, being a football player, you already have a target on your back almost, and you're always going to be blamed first for everything. But a lot of our teachers are now coming around to where it's a lot more positive than negative. It's a lot more, hey, Johnny needs a little bit of extra help. Not, oh, Coach, Johnny did this in my class. It's, hey, Coach, can you get with Johnny and talk to him about X, Y, and Z? It's more about growth and less about disciplining the kid now. The youth kids start wearing your gear more. It's really cool walking around Cortland and going to some of the youth bureau stuff, and we see some of these Cortland shirts. It's really cool to see. Local businesses are now supporting Cortland now more than ever. And parents are trusting coaches now more than ever. I think it's really cool that, parents at the sixth grade level, because we're starting to incorporate sixth graders into our modified football lifts now. The sixth graders are trusting this coaching staff because they already have heard and they know so many good things about our staff here in Cortland. But let's face it, your role as a head coach, you're the community leader, you're the culture builder, you're the relationship manager, you are the overall CEO of your program. I always relate football back to business and business to football, because they just have so much that correlate and coincide with one another. Understand, a business has a CEO. Coaches, if you're the head honcho, if you're the head hat, man, you're the CEO of your program. You got to know how to lead your community. You got to know how to pull the community into your program. You got to know how to build that culture, and you got to know how to foster those relationships that are going to allow you to do both. All right? And one of the big things that I've been super proud of my first year in Cortland is just the building support. And one of my favorite ways to just build support within the actual school building is just being seen in the hallway and speaking to everyone. Majority of our faculty and staff at Cortland can tell you, if they see Coach Barfield in the hallway, good and well Coach Barfield's going to say, hey, good morning, how are you? Yep, that's the classic Coach Barfield, good morning. Hey, good morning, how are you? Not how are you, it's how are you. That's how we say it down south, how are you? It's from the English teacher to the history teacher to the custodial staff to the lunch people to the principals. I'm going to speak to everyone. I'm going to say, hey, I hope you have a great day. Hey, let's get after it today. Or, hey, how are you doing? It costs nothing, and it takes you 5 seconds as a head coach to just speak to everyone. Don't be the guy that is just hat over your eyes, face to the floor, facing your phone, and you think you're a hot shot. That's not how you get the building support. Constant check-ins with administration and staff. The start of every semester, I send an email out to the entire faculty and to the entire staff. I go, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything I can do for you as a head coach this semester, please let me know. If any of my guys are giving you issues, please let me know. If any of my guys are not turning stuff in, please let me know. You're constantly checking in with the teachers, with the admin, with the principals. You're constantly saying, hey, I am here for more than just Friday nights. I'm here to make sure these young men are living the correct way and are acting the right way whenever they're in your classroom. We're also hosting events that support the community. One of my favorite nights that we did this past year was a military appreciation night. We've also did a teacher appreciation night. We're also going to do a breast cancer awareness game, but unfortunately we had to cancel that game due to injuries. But a lot of community support goes on during the season. We also had a youth bureau night. We had the youth teams actually make the tunnel for us on that very first home game of this past season. And our guys ran through the tunnel, and the kids loved it. The kids acted like, our high school guys were like rock stars, which they do see them as rock stars. But yeah, it's just really cool. Always find ways to celebrate your community. Always find ways to bring your community in, especially on game days. Like, guys, I know we have so much to do on game days, especially as the head hat, but I'm telling you, it costs you maybe 5 minutes of your time and very little energy to just do something nice for your community, such as teacher appreciation, youth bureau appreciation, military appreciation, etc. Act like you're always on. That's one thing that I fully believe in. I fully believe in always acting like you're on. Anytime somebody sees me out, if it's at a brewery or, at my coaching staff and I, we have a local pub that we like to go here, I'm always acting on. I might have a beer or two, but you will never catch me drunk. I never want to be that head coach that, everybody sees like, oh, there goes Coach Barfield drinking again. Oh, there he is. He can't handle himself, can't handle his alcohol. Or, oh, there goes Coach Barfield swearing up and down the storm. Don't get me wrong, my language can get a little salty here and there, but I know the correct time and place. I know whenever things need to stay in the home, all right? So, guys, as head coaches, understand your community is watching you. So, you are in a different position. You are in a special position where you are being watched. You got to act like it. You're always on. So how are we building support? One of the things that we are actually doing to build support is I'm leaning into the fact that Cortland is a town, city, whatever you want to call it, suburb, where there are a lot of issues. There's homelessness, there are drug issues, there's people on the streets. Like, Cortland needs some tender love and care. And whenever I came into Cortland, I knew that because my wife's from Cortland. And, my wife's side of the family, both her mom and dad were both administrators within the school district for 30 to 40 years. So I've heard the history of Cortland from, Cortland back whenever my wife was born to current day. I kind of know the timeline of how Cortland, came to be what it is now and all the struggle that it is now, right? And I remember coming into my interview for the head coaching job and I go, hey, I know I married into the Costick family, but I want the name Barfield to mean something too here. I want the name Barfield to have an impact here too. And one of the first things I decided to do is we're going to do so much community service. People are going to love this program. Nothing to do with me, okay? It's got everything to do with this program. It's got everything to do with this program being a beacon of hope and a beacon of light for this community. And one of the primary ways we're doing it is we're feeding people. Right? So what we just did not too long ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we did the Huddle for Hunger. We had a morning workout. After workouts, guys got together. We made care packages. It was sandwiches, chips, and a bottle of water. And we handed it out to our local food shelter, and they distributed it for us. I actually just did a interview with the local newspaper here in Cortland, and I told them a big reason I want us to continue doing this stuff is because I want the kids to be proud of the community. I want the kids to take care of their community, and more importantly, I want the kids to be proud to be Purple Tigers. Another thing we did this past December, we did a Tackling the Cold clothing drive. This is where I believe the entire month of December we collected jackets, blankets, hoodies, gloves, any type of winter clothing. Because for those that don't know, the winters here in central New York are really brutal. My southern self is struggling a little bit because it snowed again yesterday. Thankfully, it's not on the ground, but here we are. It's going to be April soon, and we're still getting snow. But we collected a bunch of different warm clothing to, drop off at the local heating shelter, or I forget the actual term that's called here. So my New York friends do forgive me for that, but it's essentially warming shelter, not heating shelter, warming shelter. We dropped it off at the warming shelter. Something else we did back in November. Of course, November is known for Thanksgiving. We did a food drive where we collected, I believe it was like 325 or something like that, non-perishable items, where we then dropped it off at the local soup kitchen here in Cortland, and they were actually able to feed a lot of people and hand it out. On top of that, we're getting our families involved. All right, so right here, this was this past summer, whenever we were having open session practices where guys could come out, start learning formations and whatnot, we fed them. We had a lot of the moms and the ladies of our program, feed our guys. And then, as you guys see here, I'm wearing a supervisor vest. And I do apologize, coaches. Give me 1 second. I got to plug my computer up. All right, here we go. All right, so where was I? Oh, okay, yeah, right here. So I was supervising a volleyball game, and a modified volleyball game, and one of the modified parents came up to me and goes, "I've never seen the head football coach here at a modified game." And I go, "Yeah, it's super important to me, to attend other sporting events, because I want our other programs to see, hey, the head football coach cares about all the programs, not just the football program." So I try to supervise as many events that I can, and I try to attend as many sporting events that I can outside of football. Then next we have Gary and one of our teachers here. Gary is going to be a senior wide receiver next season, so super excited for his senior year. We did a jersey swap back whenever we had teacher appreciation night. The teachers wore our away jersey, and our kids wore our home jerseys. Of course, the numbers matched. So it was a really cool thing to get photos of the teachers and our athletes together. Then one of the biggest things that I've been trying my best to do is attend these plays that our theater program and our musical program has here in Cortland. We have a top-notch musical and theater program here in Cortland, and my wife's a big Harry Potter fan, so our theater program put on a play. I believe it's called The Puffs, which is like a spinoff of Harry Potter. And my wife wanted to go to it, and I was like, "Hey, you know what? Let's go. It will be great to show the theater kids, like, hey, head football coach is here to support you guys and to have a good time too." Also, one thing I started doing, I started putting notes in our kids' lockers and in their homeroom teachers' mailboxes for them. These notes vary from, hey, like, I saw that dunk, at the basketball game, great job, or hey, I saw you made honor roll last semester, wonderful job, or hey, I heard you got a new car, like, I hope it's like treating you well. What this does is it's recruiting your hallway. It's recruiting your hallway, and it's showing the kids within your building that you know what's going on in their lives. For example, I believe in this stack of cards, one of the kids in the building just lost their grandmother. So I wrote a card to him, said, "Hey, so sorry, about your loss. My door's always open if you need to talk." Kids want to see you care. Kids want the extra effort these days. Kids want to be a focal point in your life, and this is how you do it. This takes me I try to sit down once a month and do this. It takes me maybe about 30 minutes to knock out all the cards I want to knock out. They're handwritten. I try to write as neat as I can. I don't have the best penmanship, but kids love this stuff. Youth camps. These two are youth camps right here. We did a free youth camp for the Youth Bureau on the day that they picked up their equipment, and then we had one that was a small fundraiser over the summer as well. So we do youth camps as well. Then right here, I'm super proud of this. We started a workshop called the Modern Man Workshop, where I'm teaching my guys, some things that they're going to need in this lifetime as a man, such as shaving, tying a tie, changing a tire, checking your oil, stuff like that. So the guys are enjoying that this off season so far because they're learning so much. And yes, I am letting them work on my car, which I was very nervous about driving back home that day. How else are we building support? We are actually having families and local businesses feed us. So we're collaborating with them to feed us during football season, which I think is huge. It's a good way to get the families involved with your program. So always reach out to families and ask them if they ever want to sponsor a meal. Most families love to do it. Most businesses love to do it as well. Then another thing that I know has made some roundabouts online, and the admin here in Cortland are super pumped for. I started a nutrition pantry. It's a lot bigger than this now. It's overflowing now. I wish I had a more up-to-date photo on here. But guys, we have a 10-pound bag of protein powder right here now. We got maybe 6 cases of protein bars here. This is packed out. These bottom 2 things are packed out with Gatorade. This is in my office at the school, and kids can come before school, after school, and after practice and after workouts, and grab something. So we started this to make sure guys are eating enough and to ensure guys are getting the adequate protein needed as young men. Because let's be real, we were all athletes one day. Being a young man and playing a sport, you burn through so many calories. So I want to ensure that guys are eating enough, and for the guys that are struggling at home and don't have much food at home, this also gives them a way to get some food as well. Kids can also sneak in during learning block and during lunchtime as well. If they have a away game or something like that, I'll let them sneak in and grab something before they leave for their away game. All right, so I believe this was an error on my end. Yes, it was. I do apologize about that. All right, so some ideas that I have moving forward. These are just a few ideas that I have moving forward. First and foremost, we're going to start opening up more tailgating spots. We're going to start opening up more tailgating opportunities for our families. Football is notorious with tailgating. Football is notorious with just that camaraderie and, sportsmanship and, communities coming together. So we're actually opening up tailgating spots, which I will be advertising for closer to summertime. We're also going to be partnering with local businesses, which I have started doing as of today, actually. We're going to have different business partnerships that local businesses can buy into, such as our first down sponsor, our touchdown sponsor, our third down sponsor, etc. This is where businesses can get shout out over the PA system. Hey, it's another Brew 64 first down. Or, hey, it's another CBC, third down or something like that. Then, we're also doing a lot of partnerships with the Youth Bureau /League. Thankfully, my receiver coach and my special teams coordinator, he works for the Youth Bureau in Cortland, so we gotta end with that. And he does a lot of work for us internally to get things lined up with us so we can do a lot of collaborative work. This allows us to really interact with our youth leagues a lot more. Then some community service. We're going to do Tiger Paws for Cause. This is where I'm going to have some of the guys actually go down to a local animal shelter and play with some pets, play with some dogs, some cats, etc. Then the bullet point that's missing here, which I do apologize for, the bullet point that's missing here is the Syracuse Mets. So we're going to actually partner with the Syracuse Mets to do a lot of concession stands work. So the Syracuse Mets reached out to me earlier this year with the idea of us, going up to Syracuse and, working a few baseball games and, making us seen and making us known in the Syracuse area as well. So, coaches, that's about it for me. If you want to connect with me, all my information is on the screen in front of you. I'm always happy to share ideas with you guys. I just scratched the surface with this presentation. I didn't go too deep into it. I will say the big focal point of this is just to make it known, head coaches, You are so much more than a head coach. It's not just about drawing up the perfect scheme. It's not just about, having the perfect practice plan. It's not about any of that. It's all about building a community. And whenever I say community, I don't just mean within your football program. I mean within the school. And not just within the school. I mean within the actual community itself, within the town itself. Growing up down south, everybody knew the head football coach of the local high school. Everybody was able to spot him in the grocery store, in Walmart, in Target, in the mall, at that restaurant or at the pub or whatever, right? I want to bring that to Cortland. I think New York football needs more of that. I think New York football needs more head coaches and need more men stepping up, being leaders in their community. So if you're a New York football coach, that's my challenge to you. Let's make New York football better, not just on the football side of things, but on the community side of things. Coach, is much appreciated. Be sure to give me a like, subscribe to the channel, share with a coach that needs to hear this. Reach out to me. My stuff's on the screen. Let's talk ball. Let's build some programs, and let's create even better men. Thank you guys for watching.